Going back to the test, I'm going to go over the second part of the test. Number 8. Number 8, view a factor tree. The factor tree, you then had to study the factor tree and see which of the following statements was true. Let's look at the statements. A says, the only prime number of 48 is 3.
No.
That is false because what are the other prime numbers? 2. So that could not have been the answer. B says all of the factors of 48 are even numbers. Well, that's not true because is 3 an even number?
Yeah.
No, it's not a number. All of the factors of an even number are even. That's not true because 3 is a factor, and that's not true. 2 and 3 are the only prime factors of 48. That is true. There's 2 and 3. That's what you use. The correct answer is D. Flip your paper over. What is the prime factorization of 16? So number 9. I could do the little tree to figure it out. If I look down at the tree, I know that the prime factorization of 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. That would be the correct answer of C. Number 10. Don't undo that. Maybe it'll undo. Okay, well, let me go back. And you saw that one. You saw that one. We'll go on to number 10 now. For number 10, let's look at the question. The Booster Club has 16 members. They need to separate 684 pennants to each member. How many pennants will each member receive? Will there be any left over? If so, use a method learned in class. So when I look at this, I need to think about it. Am I multiplying and making a larger number, or am I dividing up the total and making a smaller number? Dividing up the total. So that told me what to do with my numbers. So 684 divided by 16. All right. First, I needed to find my landmark numbers. So where do I start? 16 times 10 is 16 times 20. 16 times 30. And I might need to keep going. So let's see where I would stop. 16 times 10 is 160. 16 times 20 is 320. 16 times 3 is 480. 16 times 4 is 604. Very good. Oh, wow. If I am at 640 and I need to get to 684, am I close?
Yeah.
I'm going to stop there. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at 16 times 10. I can easily now tell you what 16 times 5 is. What's half of 160? 80. Half of 160 is 80. All right, so let's look at this. I want to use 16 times 10 equals, 16 times 40 equals 640. I box in my 40 and I take my 684. And what's my next step? Subtract. So I subtract it. And what's left over? 44. I'm not finished because I still need to break up 44. I know I'm not finished because I look at 44 and say, that is bigger than 16. So I can still make groups of 16. Well, how many groups? Looking at 16 times 5, that's 80. That's way too much. Do we have 80 to separate? No. So we need to make a multiple tower. This is when you go and make a multiple tower. 40. So you look at 16 and you'd start with your multiple tower. 16 times 1 is 16. 16 times 2 is
32.
16 times 3 is
48.
Oh, I can stop there because what number am I trying to break up? 44. Which one is close to but does not go over? 32. And what multiple of 16 is that? 2. So I can say that 16 times 2 is 32. And now what do I do? What do I do? Subtract. So now I need to see how much I have left over. 4 minus 2 is
2.
4 minus 3 is
1.
Now I go back and look at 16. If I only have 12. Can I make a group of 16?
No.
No. So I can't even make one group. So I know that this becomes my remainder. So now I'm ready for, I can stop because this number is less than 16. I can't make any more groups. That's how I know I can stop. When I had this number, 44, I knew it was greater than 16. I could still make groups of 16. But once I make my groups and I have a number less than 16, I know I can make no more groups. So now I need to find my final answer. And that's the reason why we box in the numbers we used. Because we go back to them and say, I used 40, I used 2. So what does that equal?
42.
And I can't forget about my remainder. My remainder is 12. So I want you to look at your problem and look at the steps you did and look at each of our steps and see maybe where you might have made a mistake if you made a mistake. And tonight, I'm going to want you to go back and look at this. I'm going to want you to get on my webpage and I want you to kind of review the whole text with yourself. All right, the last but not least is number 11. Looking at number 11, it says, Mrs. LaRue needs to cut 600 inches of yarn into pieces that are each 14 inches long. How many full pieces can she cut? What's in bold? Full pieces. Now, if I'm taking a total and I'm breaking it into smaller pieces, is that multiplication or division? Division. I'm taking a total and I'm breaking it down. That's division. So right there, that tells you this is a division problem. You have to use those problem-solving strategies to figure out, is this multiplication problem? Is this a division problem? So I take my total, which is 600, and I'm going to divide it by what? 14. So what's my first step? Landmark numbers. 14 times 10. 14 times 20. Oh, you know what? I'll start right now. 140. 140 plus 140 is 280. Well, now that I found 140, what's half of 140? 70. Very good. Now, 280, I can still go. 280, 600, that's a far distance. I'm going to keep going. 14 times 30.
420.
Very good. 14 times 40.
560.
Ooh, I'm getting really close, don't you think? Let's use that. Let's stop there, and I think that I may be able to use 40. I'm really close to my 600 mark, and I didn't go over. I don't want to go over. So I rewrite in the wrong order. 14 times 40. And what did I get? 560. I boxed it in. I'm going to box it in again. What do I bring down to subtract? 600. I subtract. Oh, don't let those zeros scare you. You kind of sing to yourself when you're doing subtracting with zeros. You go through and you say, I can take this, but can I take 0 from 6? No. Knocking on your neighbor's door. Cross me out. Make me smaller. Add a 1 to my side. Now I can subtract. 10 minus 6 is 4, and 5 minus 5 is nothing. Now that you have 40 left over, you look at 40 and say again, is 40 less than 14?
Yes.
Is 40 less than 14?
Yes.
No. Yes. 40 and 14. Look at a number line. Here's a number line. Here's 0. Here's 50. Here's 14. Here's 40. Is 40 less than 14?
No.
So can I keep breaking it up?
Yes.
All right. Now I wanted to make sure you understood what I was asking you. So I need to break up my 40. Looking at my fifth landmark, it's 70. Too high, right? So what do I have to do if it's too high? I need to make a multiple tower. 14 plus 14 is 28. 28 plus 14, if you don't know it, you would come to the side and you would say 8 plus 4 is 12, 42. So my next one is 40. Oh, can I go that high?
No.
So I know I have to stop at this multiple, right?
Yes.
Which multiple is that? 14 times 2, and it gave me 28. I subtract, cross me out, make me smaller, add a 1 to my side. I have 12 left over. Now, it's my roommate. 12 is less than 14, so that I know that becomes my remainder, correct? So what is my answer? 40 plus 2?
40.
Now, if you look at that, it asks you how many full pieces can she cut. Can she cut 43 pieces? No. Can she cut 42 pieces?
Yes.
The correct answer is B. This was a little tricky. You had to go back and look at that. All right, what I need for you to do is